Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we got a bunch of stuff in the news today. I got a cruise that sounds really interesting if you're a nature lover, and this could probably be the ultimate cruise for you. We also have Holland America dropping its testing requirements on almost every cruise. We have Royal Caribbean president coming out and saying, guess what? Expect some higher prices. And then we also have some kind of not surprising news about just how many people missed their cruise. First off, let's talk about a nature lover's dream for a cruise. We have Fred Olsen Cruise Line is offering a 3-month circumnavigate Africa continent with stops in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Senegal, Mozambique, Madagascar. Basically, they're going to 43 ports and 23 cities. Couldn't see it from my notes there. 23 cities. So, in 3 months, on a smaller cruise ship, and they guarantee trips to see the African wildlife. So, yeah, that's always been kind of a dream of mine. I would love to head down and do one of those river cruises along in Africa, and I just get up close to the elephants and the wildebeest and the zebra and the giraffes, and yeah, the lions and tigers and bears. I know they're not in Africa, but it sounds like a really great cruise. It starts off on November 17th and doesn't end until February. So yeah, 3 months over the holidays, where they will celebrate Christmas and New Year's on board in traditional holiday settings. So that sounds like a pretty great cruise if you've ever wanted to do Africa. 90 days to circumnavigate the whole continent. Yeah, I think you can sign me up if I could actually get away and afford it. We also have Holland America finally came out and said, yep, we're dropping all of our testing requirements as well. Whether you're vaccinated, boosted, not vaccinated, doesn't matter. They're dropping the testing requirements on almost every cruise, 15 days or less. Basically, they're calling that normal cruising now. So, and that includes the Panama Canal, which for the longest time you had to test to do it. Same thing for transatlantics or transpacifics. You had to test if you were coming across. Here, that's all gone. However, they did say sometimes it'll be necessary depending on the ports of call, but they say that's going to be very, very rare now, which is kind of where we're seeing all of cruising at the moment. For now, fingers crossed that it doesn't come back. Let's just hope. We also have Michael Bailey, the CEO in the Royal Caribbean, coming out, and he had an interview where he said, yeah, we've kind of been, recovering now. Cruising started up about 16 months ago in July, and everybody came online at once, right? So first there were like 20 ships, and 40 ships, and 100 ships, and 200 ships, all within a short period of time to try and draw back all the cruisers. And don't forget, a lot of people still weren't cruising because unvaccinated people couldn't cruise. If you weren't boosted, you couldn't cruise. People of older generation, like myself, were afraid to cruise because of COVID. People didn't want to wear a mask on their cruise because they thought it would be less fun, etc., etc. Lots of reasons why people weren't cruising in the numbers that they were before. We seem to have come around this year, and our numbers are picking up. As you can see, Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas sold out in 24 hours. 7,000 passengers gone one day of bookings. Doesn't mean everyone's going to pay. Just means they reserve the cabins. It's still over a year away before you actually have to pay for that cruise. However, he's saying now that the cruise lines have come back and the pricing has got to start going back up. Fuel prices and costs and fuel and staffing, etc., the cost of new ships, the cost of borrowing during the pandemic, all these things, cruise lines need to recover the money and make it enough to keep going and gain profits for the shareholders. And he said pretty much you can expect prices to start going. It's not going to be instant. It's not going to be quick. Unless you tried to book the Icon of the Seas, then it was immediate. You could see the huge difference in price of the Icon of the Seas and, say, booking on the Allure of the Seas. You could book the same cabin and it could be 50% higher. It was a crazy pricing right now. But that's the way we're going. It seems like that looks like everybody is going to be trying to get that price back up. So if you know you're going to cruise in 2023 and even early 2024, now might be a good time to make that reservation. And try, if you have to take a refundable deposit, do that. If you're unsure if you can go, because you just might see that those prices go maybe up 10, 20, maybe 30% by the time that cruise actually sails, if prices all start to rise. Fingers crossed they don't, but I would not be surprised to see cruise pricing starting to head back north of where they are now. Now, let's talk about people who missed their cruise and some numbers that have come in. They were really interesting. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with all things cruising, from ship reviews to cruise news to some stories about cruising to why people have missed their cruise this year, wait till you hear this one. Just hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything. Really does help the channel out. Really do appreciate it. And it just says, hey, YouTube, people like cruising. Let's share these videos to more people and see if they like it. That's all it really does. And again, I really do appreciate it. Okay, some numbers have come in from insurance companies that have seen a huge rise this summer, especially in July and August of this year, of people claiming money because they missed their cruise. They have the insurance, they bought insurance and everything, and and then they're putting in the claim. In fact, it's gone up 600% during the months of July and August. And why, you ask? Why such a huge rise all of a sudden just in those 2 months? The vast majority of those people were flying in the day of the cruise. And guess what? Their flights were either delayed or canceled, and they missed the ship. And so they had to put in a claim. A lot of them were turned away because they didn't have that type of insurance, or they didn't buy the insurance through the airline or the cruise line. They didn't have cancel for any reason insurance. They didn't have flight delay insurance, whatever the reason was. But a 600% rise because people were still trying to fly in the day of the cruise. That's, as you know, if you watch any vlogger out there, any cruise tips out there, one of the first things they tell you is, unless you live like right beside the port, really close by, a couple hours drive, never wait till the day of the cruise. Always travel the day before at least. And when we were having all those airline issues, and remember all the flights were delayed and the huge lineups and everything, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Well, why would you fly in that day? Why would you think that would be a good idea? Apparently a lot of people did, so much so that claims are up 600%. Not accepted claims. Just people who put in their claims. I hope everyone got their money. But yeah, living dangerously, rolling that dice, and flying in a couple hours before your cruise is supposed to leave. I tell you, I did that once, and I was sweating bullets the whole day because I saved over $1,000 on the flight because it was over to Europe. And I don't even know if saving that $1,000 was worth it because I was just nervous and on edge the whole week before my flight. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.